So the final part that I want to share is a very unexpected manifestation. I mentioned before that one of the things I wanted to do was to connect with men, not to meet the love of my life or anything like that, but I think it was part of a healing journey that I needed, and I wasn't exactly sure how it was supposed to unfold. So there were three different men that really stood out. Even though there were lots of men that I was able to connect with and I got great hugs. I mean, and just every day talk to, I see them all in my mind. How many amazing, interesting men were there at Mindvalley. Oh my goodness, so cool. But there were three who had a very big impact on me. And one I met near the beginning, and he was volunteering with me, and I was very intrigued by him. Um, he came up and he was massaging my shoulder. So he was a massage therapist, a Reiki master, and he just came up behind me and started massaging me. And I'm like open. I'm like, okay, it feels great. And he's like, oh, you got a lot of tightness on your right side. I noticed a lot of women who are in leadership positions often carry a lot of tension on their right side, which is ironic what I just shared about the right side, kind of that go, go, go. Actually, I'm going to divert. Before, when I was talking about sensuality and the need for masculine energy and feminine energy, one thing that I forgot to mention, which fits right here, is that a lot of the women that were at Mindvalley University mentioned they were in high power positions, whether they were managers or CEOs or whatever they were doing, where they felt that they had to be masculine, that they were often trying to be seen as being adequate in a man's world, and that sometimes, or just the fact of doing, and that they were losing their femininity. And it's really interesting because both men, women, we all have a masculine and feminine side to us. And that's why in same sex partnerships, I also learned about the need to kind of let gender go. There's a lot of polyamory, a lot of pansexuality, just loving to love and not having these real defined gender or whatever. It was really interesting. I learned so much. But anyways, I go off. Let me go back to what I was learning about the men that I met. Okay, so that's something else. About I know I have a lot of masculine energy, the need to keep doing. So that's what came up when this person was massaging my shoulders. Along the way, so I'm very open. I was talking to the people that we had some downtime and we were talking, and I was sharing something about love. That was a really big thing for me. I really wanted to learn about what was in my way about love. And boy, did I learn stuff. It was amazing. And so this guy was really open and listened. And he said, I'd love to give you a hug. If you feel uncomfortable, let me know. And what he did, so he's much taller than me, and he wrapped his arms around me, and I felt like very comforted. And I just rested my face against his shoulder and I allowed myself to be held. And he kind of rubbed my back a little bit, and it was so nice. So nice. And I loved it, and I just leaned into it. And at first I was like, so then I started feeling like, when is this going to end? Do I let go? And I got in my head, I'm like, just get out of your head and just be in it. And then it was just mutually finished. And it was really nice. And he just kind of held me back. And he's like, how do you feel? Oh, no, what he said was, when he was hugging me, he said, you're very cold from like here up. I'm like, interesting. And he's like, I think you give out so much that you're not receiving. I'm like, oh. So I allowed myself to be held longer. It was kind of in that moment where I started to think, and then he said that statement. And then I started to feel really, really hot, almost uncomfortable. And it was almost like he was filling up that space, that heart space, and allow me to receive whatever it was that he was giving. So I ended up becoming very intrigued by this man, slightly attracted to him, but I was like, but I don't understand why. And what I realized down the road was he would listen to me, he would hug me, often just come up and rub my shoulders or my back. And it wasn't sexual and it wasn't intrusive. But what I noticed was he was not giving back. He was not like giving me any information. And I would ask him, like, do you want to get coffee? Do you want to talk more? I kind of want to know more about you. And he's like, oh, it's not the right time. And if it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen. And then I started to feel like he was almost playing with me, and I didn't like it. And I tried to get information. Then one day he said to me, he was very harsh, and he's like, I feel like you want more from me than I'm willing to give. And you need to think about why you're coming to me for what you need. And I was like, ew, ew. And it hurt my feelings a bit. I was like, ew, what am I doing? But meanwhile, I never asked him for hugs. I never asked him to rub on my back or give me a massage or to compliment me. He also complimented me numerous times and told me I looked beautiful that day, and I was looking really cute. But it was always just very gentle, and I enjoyed it. And so, anyways, when he kind of shut me down, I was like, okay. And I just said, that's interesting. I will definitely take that into consideration. But maybe you could also look at why you're so unwilling to let someone in. And so I decided that it was more of a him thing than a me thing because I wasn't asking for anything. And maybe he wasn't willing to engage, but then why become so giving to someone if you're not willing to receive or give in exchange? I learned that. There was another gentleman that we went on a couple dates with, and that I went on a couple dates, not we. I went on a couple dates with. He was very generous, and we had some great conversations. And one day, I don't know what had happened. I think I gave him a kiss on the cheek, both cheeks, and we were drinking wine, and so maybe I was a little tipsy, but I gave him a kiss on the cheek. And he's like, Candace, I want you to know I've really enjoyed this time with you, and I really like spending time with you, but I'm not sexually attracted to you. And I was like, okay, all right. What had happened was, I never shared this. Oh my God, there's one other video I've got to do because there's two other big things. But um, we had finished our dinner. I'd had this coughing fit and I had gone to the bathroom and I kind of was done. And we were asking each other these questions, which was really cool. 36 questions. I'd done a little workshop and there are 36 questions split up into three chunks. They get deeper and deeper as you go. And we were having a good time doing that. And I said, do you want to come back? We'd already gone out once before and he'd already walked me home to my place. I was like, do you want to come over? We can continue the conversation. Now, in my place, I'm not in a hotel room. I've got like, it's like a little apartment. I had kitchen table and chairs, and I had no ulterior motive. So then all of a sudden, when he's like, I'm not sexually attracted to you, I'm like, whoa, okay. And then he's like, do you want to go somewhere else? I'm like, no, I'm good. I think it's late, and it was late. And I'm like, maybe this is done. And so he's like, okay. And I walked myself home and I was done with it. So I still got along with him. I did take it a little bit personally, but I took it as an opportunity to reflect. What was I putting out there? What was his block that automatically came up? Was he actually sexually attracted to me? Or because what made him say that? That it was like, boom, don't do that. And maybe he just didn't want to be put into a situation that was going to make him uncomfortable. Maybe he was just jumping ahead to what might happen. Whatever, that happened. There was also another guy that stood out that was my hug every single day. And these people are on Facebook and they might know if they watch these videos that I'm talking about them. I'm not giving anything away. And so I hope that you don't mind. I'm definitely not even using your names. So this person was a great hugger. And every day we gave each other hugs. And one time we went to a sauna together, a Finnish sauna. And there were other people there at the sauna. And everybody was naked except for me. I had a bikini on, which was big for me. And you go in, it's super hot. You're sweating, sweating, sweating. You stay in for like 15 minutes. You rinse off in the shower, and then you get in this cold pool until you feel pretty chilly, and then you go back into the sauna. So it was really interesting because he was nude, and we were there together. And on the second time in, I decided to take off my bikini top to go topless. And all I noticed was that bikini top really held in the sweat because it was just dripping off of me. But I felt very comfortable sitting there. I didn't want to take off my bottom. I was like, I don't know, wasn't ready for that yet. But I had no problem with anybody else's nudity, being in the water with them, being in the sauna with them. It was small space. I felt totally comfortable. And I became more and more comfortable with my body. But the thing is that with this gentleman, there was never anything sexual. And we talked a lot. And we had gone to the forest one time together and had some interesting conversations about relationships. I can't even begin to tell you how much I wish that I could talk to men more, just to have conversations with men. I really love it. I love male energy. I love talking to men. And I don't understand why it always has to turn into something sexual because it doesn't need to be like that. But on the other hand, men and women to me often can't just be friends because you never know when that's going to happen. And maybe we just need to tune into just being able to share energy with one another and just get along rather than everything turning to sex. So this guy was fantastic as well. And what did I learn from him? Just kind of looking forward to seeing him every day. It was really, really nice. But this is what I want to tell you. Something unexpected happened. On my wall over there, it's still hanging up on my wall, is an intention from the workshop I was doing with, or the quest with Catherine Woodward Thomas called Calling in the One. and this can be found on Mindvalley. And it wasn't about calling in the love of your life necessarily, but it was about preparing yourself to do so. And she was really looking at what were our blocks from our past experiences, what have we learned, da 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 da. So one of the things she said was to write an intention. So my intention says something about my intention to is attract and embrace an extraordinary man into my life. So I'm just reading it here, who inspires me to rise and be the best I can be in this lifetime. I will be in a loving relationship by August 2022. I wrote this before Mindvalley University even came up. And I also wrote this letter. So I'm going to read it to you because I'm all about being vulnerable. So this letter we were told to write to our loves. And I wrote this on April 16th, 2022. And any of you can do this. If you are single and want to bring love into your life, even if you're not ready. I have been single for almost 3 years, and I specifically chose to take things slowly and to really level up myself so that I could attract the man that I really wanted. And to level up means that I was going to be the woman that would attract that kind of energy to me. So, but this is the letter I wrote. My love, I'm not sure how to begin, but I guess I'll start by saying that I've been waiting a long time to meet you. I've learned so much from my past relationships, and I can now see how they reflected my insecurities rather than my self-worth, or my worth, not my self-worth. I am so thankful that I was finally able to learn the lessons required in order to be able to attract you into my life. I am so excited and I feel ready, yet I have to be honest, I'm also a little scared. I know that some of my old habits and patterns will creep up again. I think I need to see them as I am today so that I can face them and put them to rest for good. I think you are meant to show me that those ways of thinking and behaving no longer serve me in the healthy relationship I am now in. I thank you in advance for being this person for me. I know I have a lot to offer you, but I also know that I'm a busy career woman, entrepreneur, most importantly, a mom. I'm going to do my best to find balance. I'm confident that I'm ready to make my relationship with you a priority because when I do that, I'm making myself a priority. I know Marcus and I want me to be happy, but Lucy is still so young. There must be boundaries set so that I can get to know you really well before I introduce you to my family. I know that you understand. That's what I love about you. You respect me. I can feel that. I have not been with anyone since my marriage. I deliberately chose that because I didn't want to share my energy, myself, with just anyone. You are very special to me. I want to share all of me with you, and I choose you because I know that being intimate with me is special. I'm choosing you, and that means a lot. My heart is open, visible, and so sincere, but it has been through a lot. I trust you to be gentle and patient. Thank you so much for being willing to see deeper than the surface. Thank you for seeing me. That hasn't happened before. If it has, I think it ended up being used against me. I can't begin to express to you how amazing it is to be safe, to be vulnerable. I don't know what is in store for us, but in this moment, my heart is full, my soul connected, and my mind at ease, and my body tingles in response to you. Can you feel it? Of course you can. That's why we're together. I love you for being you and for letting me be me. Love, Candace. So I'm going to leave that there. And in the next video, I'm going to tell you what happened because I manifested love. And I got to go pick up my kids, so I'm actually late. I'll be back.